and we are doing our next top 10 video, coming at you a little bit late this week. We had some storms in the area last night that kind of delayed the release of our video, but we're back tonight and going to get you a new video here. And this time we're going to be doing the top 10 superhero gadgets, over the span of all comics. So Willie Moe told me to talk about gadgets, kind of talking about basically a superhero's armored sidekick, or the weapon that he uses. And not every hero has one, but there are some that rely on them heavily.
Well, the most popular one, in my opinion, is Batman.
Yeah. Batman doesn't have any superpowers, so he has to have gadgets to rely on. So basically, that's just what it comes down to with him, is knowledge, his detective ability, and all his gadgets. And I'm sure we'll probably have some gadgets from Batman in our top 10. So before we ramble on anymore, let's get right into our top 10 superhero gadgets.
So you can go first.
All right. Well, number 5 for me will be, let's see, what is my number 5 here? I'm going to have to check it. I can't even remember. All right. Number 5 for me is Iron Man's suit. Tony Stark first appeared in the Tales of Suspense, number 39. And you know, I had never really read a lot of Iron Man, but I saw all the movies, so I really didn't know how accurate the movie was toward what the comic did. I know a lot of times these movies take liberties, but I was actually kind of shocked, Will, to find out that Iron Man's origin in the comics is very similar to what happens in the movies. I think in the comics, he's actually captured in Vietnam, and he's with a Vietnamese guy that he's got an injury to his heart, just like in the movie, and he's with a Vietnamese professor, and they create the suit, and the suit is actually helping to power Tony's heart. But I was actually kind of shocked to learn that.
All right. Well,
but you know, going further on this, before we go to yours, there's been tons of Iron Man suits over the years. He's had at least, I believe the last count was 85 different suits in his comics. So Tony Stark has expounded on those suits, and they're a lot more modern now. And I don't even know, I know in the movies that they eventually got away from those suits powering his heart. But the arc reactor eventually got rid of that. You know, I don't know how closely that follows the comics, but in the comics, I was really surprised to find those origins to be very similar. All right, what about your number 5?
Well, my number 5 is Batman's utility belt, and its first appearance was in Detective Comics number 29. And I believe that, the utility belt's a lot more popular in gadgets and stuff, but I have a feeling that Batman's utility belt, he relies on his utility belt a lot in crimes he fights. He uses batarangs in it, smoke pellets, he uses anything to get away from criminals. And I find it pretty cool that he improvises and uses anything in his belt, and it's gotten so popular that villains have to take the belt off when they imprison him in most movies and shows. And I like that feature that they have to get rid of the utility belt to even get close to stopping Batman.
It's kind of funny, I was reading a little bit about your list. You gave it to me early, and I was reading a little bit about some of the things going on with some of the gadgets that you chose. And Batman's utility belt actually appeared in Detective Comics number 27, but it was basically at that time only used to hold up Batman's pants. They didn't really talk about, you know, you could see the utility belt, but they didn't really talk about it having any other function, but it's just a belt, you know. I think 29, as you're right, is when the first time it was
used as like a utility
belt. Yes. And I know the early stages of Batman's utility belt had a little capsule type compartments on it, and then when the 1966 series came out, the Batman belt had kind of pouches on it, and of course it was used to store all kinds of stuff like acid tablets that he could put on handcuffs to get him free, and just different little vials of things that Bruce Wayne always put together. It was always pretty neat. And then they came out with toys in the 60s, beginning of the 60s, of Batman's utility belt, and it's just kind of took on a life of its own. The utility belt of Batman is, I don't think anybody has anything even close to that, any other superheroes that has a belt to go on like what Batman does.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Spider-Man's web shooters. First appeared in Amazing Fantasy 15, and what was funny about them was it was like 2 panels in Amazing Fantasy 15. Peter Parker had become the Spider-Man. He was bitten by the radioactive spider, and he's in his room, and he just says, well, a spider needs his webs, and so he creates his spider web fluid. And the shooters.
I feel like the movies improvised more on it than the comics did.
Yeah.
But I do find it like one of the best gadgets, even though what was it? Tobey Maguire had organic web shooters, and he didn't need any.
A lot of people complained about that in the first Batman movies when they came out, that he could shoot webs from like his.
You said Batman.
I'm sorry, Spider-Man movies when they first came out, because he could shoot webs out of his actual wrist. You know, they were like in his bloodstream.
People didn't agree with the organic web fluid idea.
Beginning with the Garfield series, they changed that, and he actually had web shooters. But it's kind of funny, though, in the comics how quickly they just brushed by that he created these web shooters, and that's what they were, you know. And then it was kind of expounded upon after that, and I believe it was Spider-Man Annual number 2. They had a full page dedicated to his web shooters and said it was a closely guarded secret, the stuff that the webs were made out of, and by however he held his web shooter, the pressure on the button on the web shooter, he could build an actual web or just a fine line, or if he tilted it a different way or pressed harder, it would like create an adhesive liquid. You know, they always kind of seem like they revolutionize these things after they've been out a while. But anyway, that was my number 5. So what is yours?
You mean 4. But my number 4 was Captain America's Shield, and the first appearance is, of course, Captain America Comics number 1. And I feel like Captain America's Shield is one of my favorites, and probably one of the best tools. But I feel like his shield being pretty much indestructible. And of course, in the Avengers movie, he blocked Mjolnir, which is a godly hammer by Thor. He blocked a strike from that with his shield, and that was probably the first thing to say that shield was like the most indestructible resource, vibranium. And I do like how they were like revealed vibranium like that, and it was like a new element or a new resource in that time. But I do like that they use vibranium more and more as soon as like the movies keep being made. But I do like in the comics they made Captain America's shield shine as indestructible.
It's kind of funny, you know, how the movies do it a lot smoother than what comics do. The comics kind of jump around with things. Captain America's first shield was actually a actual shield shape, like a triangular type shape, and that was only in issue number 1. By issue number 2, we had the circular shield. There was never anything said about it being indestructible the whole time the Golden Age era was going around. And even when he was brought back, and I believe it was Avengers 35 or somewhere around in there, one of those, his shield actually gets destroyed in a story. But then it kind of goes from there into Tales to Astonish story where his shield is pretty much said to be indestructible. So who knows what type of shield he had in that Avengers story.
I remember in Endgame, Thanos destroyed his shield. And that was probably a very shocking moment in that movie.
Yeah.
Thanos was able to destroy Captain America's shield, which was vibranium.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a very shocking moment in that movie.
Right.
What's your number 3?
All right. Well, my number 3 is Wonder Woman's lasso, and its first appearance was actually in Sensation Comics number 8, I believe it was. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. I believe it was number 8. She had actually had several issues, and she did not have a lasso. Her first appearance being, I believe it was, I'm sorry, Sensation Comics number 6. Her first appearance was All-Star Comics number 8. And she did not have a lasso for the first 5 issues of Sensation Comics or in the All-Star Comics story that was pretty much an origin story. She goes back to the island in issue number 6, I believe it was, and that's where they make the lasso out of a girdle, a golden girdle, and I believe it was her mom's, Aphrodite, and she goes on, and when the first lassos were actually submission lassos, whoever was lassoed had to obey whatever she said, and then it slowly transformed into the lasso of truth, and I don't really know when that happened. It's kind of like a slow progression over time, but it's been an integral part of Wonder Woman's arsenal for a long time, even dating back to the TV series back in the late 70s, early 80s with Linda Carter.
All right. Well, my number 3 is Black Panther's suit, which was first introduced in Fantastic Four number 52. Now, this was very surprising to me because I had not known the suit and him were first appeared in Fantastic Four comic.
Yeah.
Now, I like the fact that Black Panther's suit is, again, full vibranium. And it's vibranium mesh, too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, vibranium is the most indestructible resource on Earth.
Right.
And it's very, very rare. And I do like that fact that it got changed to like kinetically take in impact and then release it onto an enemy, which will send them flying if they strike you again.
Right.
And slowly over time, well, in the comics, I don't believe it began like that, but I think slowly over time it became like that.
Yeah.
But sadly, actor Black Panther in the movie passed away of cancer, I believe, wasn't it? But I do think,
Bosman, I believe was the guy's name.
and they replaced Black Panther with a girl actor, which I really don't have any opinions on that. I think it's pretty cool that they're trying to carry on Black Panther legacy. But I do like that Black Panther. I did like Black Panther as an Avenger, and he probably will be one of my favorite superheroes. What about you, Dad?
Well, I like Black Panther as a character. I think he's really good. It was a shame that Chadwick Boseman died because he played the character so well. I'm surprised they probably just didn't try to replace him with a different actor. And Michael B. Jordan would have been good. I think he was the Black Panther for a little while in the original movie, or if I remember correctly. There's a rumor going out now that there's going to be a new Black Panther, and I think it's going to be the guy that played in the Notebook, and his name escapes me now, but he's a white guy, and I think they're getting some kickback on that. So I don't know how I feel about that. It doesn't seem like it makes a whole lot of sense to me, but I guess the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a plan for it.
But I do like how they were probably going to kill him off soon if he didn't die, if the actor didn't die, because then Black Panther, they destroyed, I forgot what his name was, the villain's name was in that, Black Panther.
Yeah, I can't remember.
He destroyed all the heart-shaped herbs, which kept the Black Panther alive on Wakanda.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much already set that he was going to die at some point if the actor didn't already die.
Right.
But they pretty much already said he was going to die in the first Black Panther movie. All right, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Dr. Fate's helmet, and this one I did some research on, and it was kind of funny because Dr. Fate came out in More Fun Comics in 1940, and it was an entire year before they released an origin story of him, which came out in More Fun Comics, I believe, number 55, which was about a year later. And even then, it didn't really talk about the origins of the helmet. it just basically talked about his origin. He discovered a statue. Him and his dad were exploring the pyramids of Egypt. His dad had a suspicion that the pyramids were not built by man, but they were built by alien beings, and he was trying to prove that. And while his dad was doing some archaeology work, young Kent Nelson, I believe was his name, he wandered off on his own, and he comes across this statue named A.W.O, and the statue starts telepathically speaking to him, and he opens a lever. It releases a gas and actually turns the statue back into a man, and it's him. And he talks about how he's not from this planet. He came here hundreds of years ago, and that they actually built the pyramids at that time. But when he came back, the gas that brought him back to life actually killed Kent's father. His name was Finn, I think it was. And so as payment for what he did, he decided to teach young Kent all the ways of Naboo and his life and how to do things and the secrets of the universe and stuff like that. And somewhere along the line, it was the helmet that he wielded that actually gave Kent the power. He had the power early on without the helmet, but then as he put the helmet on and the helmet was developed through the years, he channeled the power of Naboo to be able to do all the things. It's almost like when he puts the helmet on, Naboo goes into his body, and he has all the sorcery powers and the power of levitation and stuff like that.
I heard Dr. Fate has like a split personality. He can go kind of crazy, and that sometimes they have to stop him from doing anything.
Yeah, I think it's the other being taking over. It's kind of like a split personality type deal, kind of like with Moon Knight, But anyway, that was my number 2.
All right, my number 2 is Green Lantern's Power Ring, and this first appeared in All American Comics number 16. And Green Lantern's Power Ring, of course, it makes Green Lantern who he is, gives him all his powers and everything. I do like how it's not touched upon, though, how it is a gadget, specifically.
Right.
And it's not touched up upon a whole lot, even though it gives Green Lantern all his powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, like, it's just like you can make anything with your imagination. I feel like that's pretty cool. What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, laying it right down on the line, if a gadget, if you have to charge something, I pretty much think that has to be a gadget, and those power rings have to be charged. They lose their power after time.
I feel like it's a very, very good gadget too, because anything you imagine, you can make.
Right.
As a Green Lantern.
Right.
And it's very cool. I really don't like touch up on a lot of Green Lantern, but I do like his character and the way the ring works. So.
And Green Lantern started out as just kind of a solo deal, but as the time went on, you had the Green Lantern Corps, and you found out there were bunches of Green Lanterns all across the galaxies and
Then he eventually joined the Justice League.
Right. And there's been Guy Gardner and then other Green Lanterns.
I don't like Guy Gardner, and I still won't like it.
Yeah. But Hal Jordan was the original Green Lantern. So, yeah, that's pretty good one right there. So my number 1 is Bruce Wayne's Batmobile.
That's a good one.
And that's always kind of been my favorite little gadget, and that's a non-superhero type thing. Wonder Woman has an invisible plane, and other people have different cars and stuff, but the Batmobile was the original. And Batman always drove a car, even in the early issues, but it was not said that he had an actual Batmobile till Detective Comics number 48, and it was a red sedan that had a little bat signal on the hood, and that was really the only thing. It was pretty plain.
Now it's turned into like a dang tank.
Yeah, and probably the most famous Batmobile is the 1966 TV series Batmobile, and there are countless cars of this. You can go to close to where we live. There used to be a museum in Gatlinburg, north of us, that had a original Batmobile there that you could see. I don't know if it's still up there or not, but it's just that one. It seems like is the most iconic Batmobile, but it has grown through the years where he's had tumblers and he's had big tanks that are Batmobiles, and I mean it just keeps getting wilder and wilder as the
I
years
do
go on.
like the Batmobile in the game Batman Arkham Knight. Now, I feel like that Batmobile is basically touched upon as a tank, and he basically, it's like a drivable little tank. He can use it to evade enemies, blow up cars, chase down people. It's a very high-speed car. I do like that they added that.
I like the one in the latest Batman movie because it kind of looked like an old school Charger type Camaro type deal, and I kind of like the way it looked. But,
Do you remember the Batmobile that would change into a normal car?
I do not.
You don't remember that
I
one?
do not remember that one.
I remember that one.
I do remember the one he had that had a motorcycle shoot out of it. That was the Christian Bale series. I think it was in the one where he's fighting the Joker. He's driving the Batmobile down the road, and all of a sudden the motorcycle comes out of the Batmobile. Because the Joker, I think, blows up the Batmobile or something. But
All right.
that one is my number one.
My number one is Mjolnir, which is Thor's hammer. This first appeared into Journey into Mystery number 83. Now, Mjolnir is a very complex gadget weapon. And I feel like that Thor using it all over the years and him basically having it destroyed in the movie by his sister Hela, which is the goddess of death. And he has to make another one, which I think he calls Stormbreaker, and it's basically just an axe. But I do like that Mjolnir was used for so long, but then I was very surprised that it got destroyed by his sister in, I think it was Thor Ragnarok in the movie. But I do like that this hammer was used. It had so much history on it. And Thor basically always had it around in the comics. And it's basically, everyone knows what Mjolnir is and what the name of it was. And it was a very good weapon.
Yeah. This is another one that was a little bit different in the comics. Now, what was the name of the second Thor hammer? What was it called?
The axe?
Yeah, what was
Stormbreaker.
it? Stormbreaker, yeah. In the comics, Stormbreaker is actually made for Beta Ray Bill, and he wields it. Thor actually never wielded it, to my knowledge, but they have a big battle when he gets back from wherever he had been. It's kind of funny. It's completely different in the movies, but again, the movies take liberties. But Mjolnir is a good one, that's for sure. Well, all right, Willie Mo, I think we're done with our top 10 for this week. We appreciate everybody watching. Again, if you like our content, please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to build toward 500 subscribers, and we're a little over halfway, so we're going to try to get there. But me and Will will be back with you next Wednesday, hopefully, with another top 10. And if you have any suggestions for top 10s that you'd like for us to do, put them in the comments, and we'll pick one, and we'll do our top 10 on it. I really enjoyed this, and I know, Will, you did too. And we'll be doing our comic giveaway this weekend, Saturday. So if you have not commented on part 1 of our Rescue Comic Haul video, please go do that right now and get in this contest. All you got to do is comment, put a thumbs up, put an emoji. That's all you got to do, and you're entered in the contest. And you don't pay any shipping. I do the paying of the shipping. I'll do it all, So you just get to pick a book. And we have 3 books. Marvel Team Up number 7, Thor and Spider-Man, a Spider-Man number 1, Todd McFarlane cover, or a mystery book. And what could be in that mystery book, Will?
I don't know.
Actually, you do know.
I do know, but I'll say I don't know to the fans out there.
Okay, all right. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next time on A.W.O Comics. And what we always say, Will?
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. See y'all next time.